Hi, I'm Sara and welcome to What's on Tap. Today we're at Sawyer's to talk to downtown businessman Ron Kamionka. We've known each other for a long time.
About 10, 15 years now? Somewhere around
Almost 15, I guess. Back when you ran 501 downtown.
Yes.
One of my most missed bars. You ever gonna think about bringing that one back?
You know, we're actually looking at flipping one up in Wilkes-Barre, and I was flipping through some of the old logos, and I was seriously considering coming back to that concept, kind of like starting it over again up in a
with an
different
actual
market.
restaurant?
Yeah.
Because I know you don't like the food business as much as the entertainment business.
We have to change with the times. The restaurant business is definitely on the upswing again, so we've got to do what the markets dictate, and having food as part of it, not necessarily a per se restaurant, is definitely part of what people are demanding these days.
And your newest product here, Susquehanna Ale House,
Yep.
which has 2 locations.
What we do has changed a lot over the years. We're now in what we call pub syndrome. The age dem which we go after, 21 to 24, jumping up to 29, they've changed. It used to be they wanted to go out, see cover bands, act up, have fun, be part of contests. Now that age dem is looking more for a place to sit down and talk and still drink as much.
Mm-hmm. So, but you actually got your start in the hotel hospitality industry, correct?
Yeah, I actually got my start in the catering end of it. Graduated from college, realized within 3 weeks, I was recruited out to an accounting firm, realized that within 3 weeks I hated it, couldn't be stuck in a cubicle. By accident, was at a Christmas party. Guy came up to me, started talking to me, told me I would look good in a tuxedo. I'm like, all right, this is a little creepy, this is a little weird. But he actually owned a convention center, hired me as a banquet manager. I had no idea what I was doing. Spent my first week learning the names of the ballrooms and where they were, and just literally watched everybody that was in a supervisor position, learn the business from them. When I was working in the hotels, I always found a way to convince a senior vice president to start a nightclub in the complex. So it was one of those things that each time I was definitely gravitating towards that.
Yeah,
it's something that was fun, it's something that was interesting, something that was really challenging.
How'd you end up here?
Became friends with a guy who used to be a banquet bartender for me. He called me up, he goes, I work for this company now. He goes, they've got amazing things. I want you to talk to this guy because he has a place that he really wants to make into a nightclub. Right up your alley, you gotta talk to this guy. So I came down, it was actually Holiday Inn West, a restaurant, Wonderful Wanda's at the time. So I met the guy, liked him, Ken Kuckenauer, and we decided to turn it into a nightclub. Did the renovations, built the deck. Our first summer we had bungee jumping, and it was one of those things, if you build it, they will come. Mm-hmm. We were doing a little over 3,000 people every Friday, a little over 3,000 people every Saturday, within a 4-week startup time. Literally trying to get...
No one here had any place to go before then, really.
No, it was definitely the right time, the right place.
When did you decide it was time to start doing your own thing? I mean, I know that Ken continued to be a partner, continues to be a partner at some level.
Yes, continues to be a partner.
But you came downtown.
Yep. I've never really worked well with others, I don't want to play well with others. When I have an idea...
I worked for you.
I know, right? That had to be a little challenging. But when I get an idea, I want to move forward with it. I didn't want to work hard convincing someone to spend money to make millions. I wanted to work that hard making the millions. Mm-hmm. Opened up Odyssey, the underage club, and then 2 years later, came down to look at what's now the Metro Bank building, and the deal fell apart. And it was one of those things, I walked out of the building, and on the side of what's now Bourbon Street, it was Dewey's. They had just gone out of business, and there was a sign that said for lease. Called Harbillis, who's the owner of that building, told me to come up. We made the deal within like 3 hours.
Wow.
So, and we started 501 downtown. We had the dance club in the basement, and the ceilings, you literally can reach up and touch a ceiling, and we were doing 600 people a night, every Friday, every Saturday, paid through the doors, paying $5, lying around the block. Someone was putting the deal together on the old vault. That had fell apart, so we came in, took that. A lot of people say, like, oh, the golden touch, blah, blah, blah. It was the right time, right place. Let's face facts. We hit the powder keg when it was exploding.
True.
on the front end.
Once you opened Eclipse, I remember that, and I worked for you then as your marketing director, so we had a big struggle with trying to keep people in 501 at all for any kind of nightlife. So you're really then competing against yourself.
Yep. That's the old adage, if you don't put yourself out of business, somebody else is going to.
Oh, that's true.
We did it in a way that Harrisburg hadn't seen, because I think we spent $20,000 on faux painting on the walls in a dance club.
I forgot all about that. And those cages for dancing that no one had ever seen before.
100%. And much more so than anybody could legally talk about. You know, we were pushing the limits on that building. So we had won the battle of getting people downtown. So they were roaming around the streets. At that point, it was a matter of taking them and getting them in our doors as opposed to somebody else's doors. And so we decided that we were going to work on the curb appeal and giving people a reason to come in. We got an elephant that was too big to even put in the doors at night. It was like a 10-foot tall elephant. And we had vines all over the place and an 18-foot giraffe. And the girls dressed in jungle outfits out front. And it was one of those things that if you can convince them how big the party is on the outside, you're guaranteed to get them in.
But in today's new Harrisburg, we're not seeing that. Or you feel like it's more of like just a low-key audience, or do you feel like it's older people who are going out more than the younger people, or?
It's a difference in mentality that the majority of people now look at that as, oh, that's tacky. You would do 50, 60, 70, 100 barber chair shots a night. But then it got to the point where people were too cool to get up there and be the spectacle. So people
stopped being a novelty.
Right. So it was more about being cool, and if you walk by a place like that, you'd be like, yeah, that's a little too tacky for me. Philosophy has never been, I have a great idea and I'm going to plop it in this market. It's been, what does this market need? You know, and at the time, epic, big, huge was it. Now it's cool, it's sleek, it's pubbish, you know, and that's what the customers are asking for. So that's what we're giving them. Anytime you get a certain amount of success, you get the haters and you get the people that are jealous.
Yeah.
And the competitors that weren't keeping up. No one started drinking because we came to town.
Right.
We took them out of other people's doors. There were a lot of pissed off people because they didn't want to come up to the level that we were. They just wanted to sit there doing the same thing they had done for the last 10 years, bitching about why everybody's going downtown now. In our success, we've made a whole lot of enemies. And we've got a lot of enemies. I mean, but again, we played the game very hard.
What's next for you?
That's a good question. To be honest with you, the phase we're in now, it's not that interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, the fun things that we used to do, you know, we're getting near the time for something epic again. Something larger than life that will change the game. I don't think it's in downtown. You know, everything comes in cycles. If we were to take a strip mall and do almost a Disney-esque type row of places where you have 6, 7, 8 different themed things and make it a destination point. Now I think it's time for that major sweep out of downtown and into the suburbs.
Well, Ron, thanks for talking with us today. Cheers and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Well, and you've talked about how when something gets stale, it's time to change it, and you've gotten a lot of flack for that, I would say, in Harrisburg for that.
Yeah.
Like I joked with you that I think that you should just rename your company Mulligans.
Yeah, we've taken a lot of mulligans.